Okay, the first question is, do you believe in climate change? Why or why not?
I believe there's climate change. The temperatures statistics shows there has been an increase, and there has been more extreme weather, as the storms, as melting of the Arctic, but also the deserts have been increasing the temperature.
Okay. Are you super educated on the topic climate change? If so, what do you know?
I don't believe that I'm super educated. I think I just know the minimum to understand what the signs are. I understand that I know that evolution or the changes in the earth passes by stages. But even then, we have been increasing the velocity or the speed in where the changes have been happening recently, more so as the last 150 years, 200 years. And normally, to be more efficient into what you're supposed to know about global change, weather change, it is by going to the right sites, like web pages and things like that, just to know like how much we're affecting to the change.
Do you believe our world leaders hinder our success in a solution to climate change?
Yes, and the rationale behind it is because um, I know that our country and our capitalism, and also just not in the United States, but also in the world, we are based our economy into the fossil fuels, and when we're doing that, the alternative energy, which is clean energy, is not being prioritized. So plastics, for instance, um, and anything that's based on petroleum takes longer to be even actually absorbed or recycled. So that is affecting all the flora and fauna of the world.
Do you think climate change is going to be the cause of the end of the world?
Mm, I don't think that's going to be the cause of the world, the end of the world. I know that a lot of species will be end to exist. I think it's more as the end of the world will be as a superbug or like a virus itself, hunger or things like that. But in reality, I think the global we're all going to be adapting a lot because that's what we humans do. We adapt to every circumstances of change.
Do you think climate change is life threatening at the moment? Or if not, do you see it becoming life threatening in the future?
Life threatening it is, and it has been shown as how many species we lose every year. As the for instance, global change, well, this is climate change added to the human, which is for instance Brazil, the jungle in Brazil had been cut. I think it's right now it's more than 30% of what it used to be maybe about 40, 50 years ago. Uh, I know that actually, for example, the oxygen at least, one of the sources of oxygen is actually algae in the water, in the ocean. But one of the most oxygen producing jungles is actually the Congo, which is in Africa, and Brazil. And when we're taking that away from the world, it's going to affect us. And life threatening as not directly to us right now, but it's a ripple effect because once for instance, bees or any um, any animal or species end to exist, then the other as the what's it called food chain will affect, and we are at the top of the food chain right now. So everything that is affected in the bottom of it will, once sooner or later, affect us.
Do you think there is a certain reason why people don't believe in climate change?
Ignorance. Ignorance is one of the main factors, and I think actually our politicians have contributed to that because when you know politics is more about like power, the economy, the pockets. So when you look into that, who is the one that actually has more control of that? Is the petroleum, the oil companies, the companies that what they care about right now is the economy itself, not the sustainability of the world. And so when we don't educate ourselves, it's hard for the politicians to do the right job when they're biased around.
topic of climate change as controversial?
I think it is, um, and one of the main reasons is the ignorance. I mean, climate change is happening, and it's real. The only thing I think is like the controversial part of it is a lot of people, actually, politicians, want to say that there's a natural event that we have no partake of it, that we have no reason, that we're not contributing anything at all. So we should not be worried about it because that's a standard. And then you have the other group, which is explains that it is us, the one that has accelerated that change, and we should be also responsible for preventing that or helping the planet itself to avoid, going to the destruction itself with the climate change.
It is both though, right? Like it's both like natural but also we partake in.
Yeah, no, we definitely partake. I mean, like the greenhouse effect, the ozone layer. We destroyed the ozone layer. There's nothing that we can say that we didn't. We did. So, I mean, the pollution that we create, it is. I mean, when you touch, for instance, the dirt itself, and it's maybe let's do 100 degrees Celsius, Fahrenheit, and then you touch it, and it's still like warm but not hot, hot. Then you do 100 degrees and touch it with cement, and it's super hot. So that is increasing. It's like a little oven.
Have you noticed climate change effects in the world lately, and can you give some examples?
I think actually most of it is the how often the storms, earthquakes, I mean like rain. For instance, we know that actually most of the locations in the world they call it like the monsoon season, in where there's a lot of rain. Um, and normally they have a certain amount of days and a certain amount of water that they're supposed to get in that time frame, and it has been disastrous in the sense that had those storms actually that have contributed to the for instance floods in cities because of how much rain compare. So the climate change is not just like it's getting hotter; it's getting more wild. It cannot be prevented before. Like okay, we had a season and it's gonna run from, for instance, what is actually it's not say Christmas season, but it's actually winter season. So winter season normally runs, probably December, November, December, and then January, February, and by March normally you have the temperature. But then you see in March, snow, and then you see, I mean, even in January, 100 degrees, And why is that the case? Well, because the temperature it's not, we're not helping with the change because when we live in a planet, when you have air and wind and temperature, that travels across countries. So that is an effect, and that's what the effects of actually tornadoes. You have actually hot air, cold air. You have actually tsunamis, which is actually water, cold and hot, and earthquakes and things like that. So there has been more, I guess actually more emergencies given due to nature, and that is because of our contribution to the climate change.
Are you aware of your carbon footprint and the way the products you use affect the environment?
Just, but I don't do enough. So, yeah, we all do have carbon printing, which is basically how much we contributed to the temperature into the world itself, our carbon dioxide that we produce itself, how much oxygen we take as a human activities, the clothes that we wear, the food that we eat, how much electricity we use, like that's a carbon print. So basically everything we do has a print in the world. Now, some is more than the other ones, even the waste of food, the plastic we use, there's actually, I think, toilet paper we use, even. So how much toilet paper we use a year, how much water we flush a day and even a year. So I know that, I mean, the numerical values is super huge. How much a carbon print is for a person and how much you can change. But I think it's part of the not just being educated, it's pretty much wanting to change. And it's kind of like the rationale of saying, okay, what I'm capable, I'm willing to change into the carbon print that I give.
Do you do certain things to prevent your effect on climate change, like
I
carpooling or?
I done, and I think Paso has been more difficult. My hometown, it was more because I will walk more, bicycle more, things like that. This city is not. I mean, it's not. I'm not using an excuse, but it's difficult. But I mean, this city is not so friendly for bikes. For instance, riding a bicycle, of course, you're gonna get run over most of the times. I mean, you see people walking in the streets. It's not that often compared to other places. I mean, we don't have that culture itself. However, I mean, the use of plastic should be one way that we can avoid it. It will be like, for instance, recycling plastic more often. The bins itself. What else? The food itself. But I don't think I have done what I know that I need to do.
Yeah. Where are you from?
Morelia, Michoacan. It's actually like Mexico City, like 4 hours from
Oh.
Mexico City. So it's kind of like, have you been in Austin or heard about Austin, Texas? Which is rivers, creeks, lakes. The ocean is about 3 hours drive from my home.
That's cool. Where am I? Oh. How do you believe climate change has affected you?
Um, I think to the idea that where to move or where not to move. For instance, when you look into California, I mean, the climate change has been affecting them the most. I mean, you see all the fires that have been
fires.
made. You see Australia, for instance, all the fires that one of them says that made by human, because again, it's agriculture. I mean, you have forest, you have jungle, and that doesn't bring anything to the table to some of the tribes or some even actually from, some companies. However, you cut it, you sow the wood, and then you have farms. That brings money. So a lot of people have been doing that. So now that changes how much a tree gives you shade. A tree will bring actually lower the temperature. A tree sustains also the humidity in the environment. When you take that, then the air travels more, the temperature travels more. And so that has an effect. So once, for instance, California. California is, I mean, is a beautiful state. When you go travel there, it's still green and things like that, But when you look into, for instance, San Francisco, all the earthquakes, then you look into, for instance, all the fires that have been happening, and the economy affected by it, then you might not want to travel, not travel, but not want to move there. A lot of people want to move to bigger cities and those things, and then you start thinking about, well, do I want to live in a place where there's many tornadoes? Do I want to live in a place where it's fires here and there, and wildfires, because it's very difficult to take. So I mean that I think has affected to that point to kind of cross those cities or countries to not make it as a living place.
How do you believe climate change has affected the world, like as a whole?
As a whole, I think it's has created a little more education too, because I mean it's more available for you guys, for everybody to read more about it. But I think it hasn't be what's it called, like done properly as to all the countries to contribute. For instance, Germany, yes. Switzerland, yes. I mean, Finland. You have a lot of countries in which they have changed their habits, the way that a carbon print, in where they even add algae into some buildings to try to detox the city itself. Yeah, they have done a lot of research. They have actually put out. I mean, there's so many stuff that has been done, but Germany is one of the first countries right now that I don't know if it's about 60% or more than 60%. The energy comes from renewable sources, so they are ahead of the curve. About like not depending everything on the fossil fuel. So I think that has changed. And when you look into the economy and things like that, and in other countries too, you see that we don't need to rely into fossil fuels completely, and we can do more than that. So I think I mean, that's what the world has done. Little by little, they're changing. I know the what's it called? The United Nations. The UN has trying to, put all the countries together into, because it's not just world peace. They also look into the health environment. The World National Health. All those international organizations help to educate and try to make a change, a positive change. For a long-lasting life in the planet. Because without it, I mean, we don't have another planet, unfortunately. And yes, we're trying to find another planet, but what if it takes us like 10,000 years, to find another planet? Are we going to survive? What are we going to do? I mean, we cannot get to the point where, okay, only 100 people can have babies and everybody else cannot have babies. Make it illegal to have babies, like China did in one time frame, and where you can only have one baby, another one they will kill it and things like that. So I don't think, but we have to be prevented into the, okay, where is the food? How are we going to survive? Temperature, trees. I mean, we cannot live without oxygen. Oxygen, the cheapest way of getting the oxygen is basically, trees and the algae that is what's in the ocean, but that's through millions of years of evolution. Like, we cannot get it back. Whatever they release, once they release all that, I mean, we're gonna have a what's it called? We're not gonna have as much oxygen. Water, like when we do the fossil fuel, when we have the petroleum, when actually the oil spills in the ocean, it takes a lot of money to clean it, but we don't clean it all. We haven't cleaned it all. So when the aquifers melt, which is actually water under the crust, right? Like under the earth, there's actually lakes there. And when we perforate to get the oil, we perforate something that leaks into the water, the lakes. So that contaminates, and then it goes through the ocean, things like that. So I mean, without we change all those factors, I mean, we're still going to have emergency situations in the ocean, as we have to clean it up, even if we find them. So I think like going to a cleaner energy is what's going to make us, to be more successful in the long run.
What was that thing that oh, no, it's okay.
Do you know if anybody, can you print your paper in here?
Yeah, you can print it. You can use it.
What's that one thing that Donald Trump did? Where he got out of a treaty. That one thing.
Yeah, that's a climate change treaty.
Yeah, right.
So it's an international treaty. That's what I was telling you. It's an international treaty in where all the industry, or how much money we're gonna put, or how we carbon print is gonna be built. So it's the standards, right? The standards of a country.
Because it's like the world, to regulate the temperature, right?
Yeah, to help regulate, right?
Yeah.
So it's like, so it basically, I think like 90% of the scientists agree that it's a crisis. The climate change is a crisis. It's real. And then from there, you might have maybe 15, 20%, maybe 10% actually, that they don't think that it's like that big of an impact of us. But the other 80%, I mean, they agree that we are impacting, the climate change, the speed of with it. And it's not just us; it's everything we do. Farming itself, the cows. How much of the food we use, and what do they use? I mean, actually, even the gas produced by them, that increases a little bit temperature too. And I mean, take away trees and things like that, which is a temperature change, and just put it plain. And then when you also over farm, then that dirt itself, or soil, is not good enough to grow anything until a cycle. So that's why a lot of times, and that's when it comes to that place, when you have trees and things like that, and the soil is not that great, there's fire. When you turn into fire, I mean, some trees or whatever, even like the harvest, if you you have a bad harvest, you can turn it on fire, and that is a composite to help the earth to be very like very good one to actually harvest anything else in the future next year. So that's why they always end up in fire, to help create more iron in the earth and things like that. So it helps to produce better crops in the next year.
I don't remember the last thing I asked you. Oh, what impacts do you think climate change will have for the future?
A lot. I mean, I think we're talking about not 50, 100 years, maybe a little more. Little by little, it's because I was telling you, we as humans, we adapt. The species adapt or die. We get extinct, right? I don't foresee, we going extinct as of yet, but the resources is going to be limited. We're going to have to live in, we're going to have to create like the cities itself, Some of the cities might get abandoned, and the other ones are going to have a lot of population, and then a lot of farming, a lot of, because in reality, the fossil fuel itself, we cannot create. It is actually dinosaurs, that actually got it, the volcano, things like that, and then they decompose, and then basically that's what happens. It comes from dead animals, basically nature, things like that. So that's not fossil fuel. But we have a limited amount. One is gone, it's gone. So one is gone, where our energy is going to come from? So those countries that are looking into that perspective, they're preparing, which that's why they're doing like Germany or Finland or Switzerland, France a little bit on it, but I mean, that's one thing. The other thing is actually sickness. I mean, right now, there was a research probably about maybe 3 or 4 years ago. They were researching actually microparticles of plastic in the air, and they found that actually it's everywhere.
Really?
Yep. And then in the fish also. So when we eat fish, sometimes we actually eat microplastics. Like
Because there's plastic.
because plastic everywhere.
Yeah.
I mean, it's everywhere. Because when you have a plastic bottle, right, and you put it actually in the ocean, little by little, by friction, this and that, it's gonna rupture and pieces, and I get in pieces, and I get in pieces and pieces and pieces until it gets to a micro, but it's still a plastic. So I mean, they did a research into, and that's what I remember that of France, in a location in where I think it was like, I don't know if it's 5 miles away or something like that, or any city or organization, and they looked into it and they went there to test the air, They said, well, if the city is this amount of micro plastics, right, per square foot of air, let's do it here, then there's no people around, and they find the same levels. So unfortunately, we most likely breathing some particles of plastic, and then we eat some plastic, and I mean, it can evolve, it can change. There's already like some bacteria and some microorganisms that actually they're capable of actually eating plastics. So can we use that as a technology and try to get rid of some of the toxins of the plastics? We could be. So that's one thing that might change, affect getting ready. The cars itself is going to change. I mean, you see more hybrid cars, and then you see more electric cars, and hydrogen cars, and they have been developed, and there's a lot of manufacturers that are already moving to that. Electrical companies, like the electric company here, about maybe 5 or 10 years ago, they actually saw the solar panels, and now they got into the game, and they're forcing any other solar panel companies not to be in El Paso, because they want to take that market.
Yeah.
So that's also changing how the houses are built too. That most of the houses now, to avoid like the expenses and things like that, then put a solar panel, which is renewable energy. And we have a lot of the sun. I mean, so I think that's gonna change. The temperature itself, we're gonna have to be prepared. Of course, cities, might understand. Some cities that maybe in the world itself, they don't use like AC. Because they don't have the need for air conditioning. They only have some fans, If the temperature increases, then that society has to change into having AC. Locations where the temperature normally is like maybe, I mean, no less than 60 degrees, they might have to get heaters, and that changes to the economy itself, So I think there's a lot of changes happening.
Will the actions we take today be enough to prevent the direct impacts of climate change, or do you think it's too late?
No, I think this is still feasible. I think there's actually countries like India and there's countries in other places in where they are what's it called? There's one in where the newspaper, they actually put seeds in it. So when you throw it away, that newspaper will turn into a tree. So when you see that newspaper, it was a little thicker, but embedded in it, they have little seeds. And then you throw it, and it will work, and then you have it. You have a tree. So, and then there have been several cases in where they actually have, they're planting a lot of trees, and helping the economy. I mean, or either the weather, they have changed. There was actually, what was it? I can't remember where. There was a guy that was actually taking all the oranges that were not, of the, I guess like a juice plant or whatever. So they have like just like that. And he was actually putting it in a location, right? Planting and planting and planting. And then that it was actually completely like dead. Now tries with life. So, I mean, we can do that. I mean, the whole world, But the thing is like, necessary is, I mean, the power of one person to people, it's not really that high of the impact. I mean, and we always keep thinking that way. Oh, if they don't do it, why should I do it? I think it would need to be a change in where the politicians, It's kind of like the politicians also affect about drinks, Like energy drinks are bad for us, Why are they not taking it away? Because there's money involved. Why if we know that sugar, it's a cause of well, it's not a cause of diabetes, but we know that diabetes is genetic, and a lot of people have diabetes. Why are we allowed to sell drinks that have 20, 25 grams or even 16 grams of sugar? We don't prohibit anything like that. It's very addictive. Again, politicians, right? So when you have all of that, I mean, if we have to have a structure and say, okay, it's illegal or legal, there's a reason we have that. It's not because, I lack of believing in humans and human nature, We understand human nature, in which if I tell you not to do it, maybe 50% of people will not do it because they believe that it should not be done, Kill, don't kill. Oh yeah, because it's a bad thing and this and that. But once that, there's no punishment for it, You might say, well, you know what? If it's legal to defend myself because someone called me a name and I can kill, why would I not do it? So I mean, to the point, politicians are responsible for bad actions, and they should actually make decisions, and we have to push them, make decisions, and that is a well-being for our children and the planet, because we don't have anything else.
Okay, this is my last question. Do you believe climate change is something to be sort of optimistic about, or do you think that we should be taking precautions already?
I think one of this it should be a consensus. I think educate more people about it. I mean, the first change of anything is education. Without knowing something, how can you change it? So I think it's education to everybody about it. I mean, there's actually countries that they're really good at it. Japan and recycling is it's amazing. The way that they actually do everything about even pollution or even actually and they're not a perfect country because they have all the things that they're supposed to be doing, I mean, for instance, what's it called, the whales, they hunt for whales a lot, they use dolphins, a lot for meat instead of fish, things like that. So there's a lot of things that you should not. But regarding that, as a society itself, I mean, after they always have that feudal system, embedded in Japan and things like that, and they believe in helping each other as a society. So the little kids, they education comes in the first couple of years, in kindergarten, things like that. They are not learning how to write and read, that's part, but actually learning how to keep things, how to cook, how to clean, and you see them doing that, ambient society. So when you see even at games and that's World Cup, the Japanese people actually will stay to clean the stadium. Not their job, they just clean to help, and that's what they do. Normally they try to help and clean, and if something falls, they try to put it back in the place, and they're very conscious about the society and the effects of each one to the society. We live here in the Western. We live into me.
Yeah.
So if something falls and it's like, oh, I'm not gonna pick it up. That's what they have a job for that, even though I did throw it away. So that mentality has to change because in order for us to be more successful, we should be more integrated into whatever I do affects my neighbor, right? If I decide to throw, like for instance, I throw so much trash, right? And I fill bins, what will happen to the neighbor when he wants to put it in the bin, And I fill all the bins like in an apartment complex. Then I have to put in the trash in the floor. If I do that, who's gonna have to do the work? The other person. So
Yeah.
we keep giving more to more people. So if education was the principle, consensus first, so that way it can be a movement, right? And saying, okay, we agree that we can stop it. This is a plan, right? And the politicians and the world, the whole world basically says, you know what, we do need to,
Yeah.
Then education comes to the children, everybody else, classes and things like that, and okay, we need to do this. And then you see bins everywhere, right? And where you have like for this each one of the trashes. Now, because you have like organic plastics, and then for instance like any cotton-made type of thing, clothes and things like that, right? So you have all those differences, and then you have a system in where the recycling pays off. In Europe and other places. You
Yeah,
can
I've
actually
seen
take it.
those. You get
take it.
money for.
You give automatically. You don't have to wait. Just go to the store and say, oh, I found this one in the trash. I found it in outside. Take it, and they give you like 5 cents, 10 cents.
Yeah.
Here, you have to go to the recycle center, and then are you gonna really hoard like 150 plastic bottles? It makes
Wait,
it
you
more
can do
difficult.
that here?
There's a place, and actually I think only this
Oh, the
and the
bottle
aluminum,
cups.
yes. Aluminum, yes, because aluminum can actually is 100% recycled. So I mean that business-wise, makes the decision, right? But the bottle plastics is more, it's more difficult, and it's always along all the trash. Glass is recycled, that too. But it was for the dangers of that and people picking up things like that. So I mean, there's a lot of things that can be done. For instance, the same countries, like the taxes or whatever we pay, and then, for instance, if we lose in trees or we, some locations, you can plant more trees. You can clean more the environment. How is it possible in this country? Flint still doesn't have, I don't think to this point, clean water, even right now. But we have billions. I think actually a year is 7,000 or 7,000 billion or 7 billion dollars in arms, weapons, and things like that a year. That's our economy. That's where our economy goes. But we're fighting wars in Iraq, Afghanistan, everywhere for the purpose of oil. That's the main reason, the oil. But then our own people has no water to be sustained. And that's what I talk about. Like all those changes will happen because once you cannot drink water because we don't have enough water. People's gonna be dying. Once it gets to the politicians, in the real hands, in where our extinction might come into place, then those changes want to happen, and that's too late for sure. Even the factors of medicine, the factors, all those things, So they hug the power, and I still understood this. Capitalism, when it has been around, the founding fathers actually they created a little bit of the capitalism, realistically speaking, So that's how we have our economy, But if we don't have oxygen, we don't have water, we won't survive. And of course food, right?
Yeah.
But food we can, get vitamins, you can create things, you can have veggies, you can eat, actually we can even get protein from bugs, right? There's actually a lot of the cuisine now that is with bugs, roaches, things like that, and then it has a lot of proteins, vitamins, proteins, things like that. So Timon and Pumbaa, they were not that far away from reality of nutritious food. It is. It's difficult to change your mind, into that, but that's still possible. But water, it's very expensive to get water from the ocean and make it drinkable. They say, well, it's a lot of water in the ocean. No, it's very expensive to change that because all the salt and all the contaminants that it has to just drink it. So that's expensive. And then oxygen, we don't have good oxygen, and people start getting, respiratory diseases, because of contaminated air.